Hi guys, welcome back. If you're following along at home, this is Algebra 1, Lesson 6 in the third edition of the Saxon book. Today we're going to be talking about opposites of numbers and some more difficult notation, simplifying more difficult notation. So first things first, when we talk math, opposite can mean a whole lot of different things. But for right now, when we say the opposite of a number, we mean the opposite sign. So if I give you a number 6, the opposite of that would be -6. Opposite of -17 would be +17, okay? So let's try some of these examples that are on the page. The first one, complicated expressions, such as this guy, -4 plus -2 plus, and we got some brackets here to show that, -6. Okay, first things first, what this is, there's actually a 1 here, and I've said this before, but mathematicians, we're lazy, right? We don't like to write things unless we absolutely have to. So if you don't see a number there, there's actually a 1. If we were to multiply these two things, we would get negative times a negative, which would be a positive. Another way of looking at this is, this says -4, this guy in front of it is saying the opposite of -4, and the opposite of -4 would be positive. So if we have a negative and a negative, that's a positive. So this is going to be a +4, okay? Plus -2, and then I'm going to bring down this sign, plus, and then I have a negative again, that's going to be a positive. So plus +6. Now these little positive notations that I made in here aren't really necessary. I'm just showing you as we were going along, okay? We're going to gather up our teams now. Our positive team has a 4 and a 6, which gives us 10, plus our negative team, which has just the -2. Which team is larger? Looks like our positive team. And by how many? 8. 8. Excellent. Okay, so taking a look, if you're following along at home, this is on page 34. There's the first example 7.1, which we're going to look at. It says -4 minus -5 plus 5 minus -3 plus -6. I always run out of room. I always do that. Good. So a negative and a positive is going to give us a negative. We're saying the opposite of +4. That's -4. Minus -5 plus 5 minus -3 plus -6. Okay, and now at this point we can add the opposite for any of our subtraction problems. And again, I'm going to do that in a different color so you can kind of see that. So it looks like our first subtraction here, we're going to add and then the opposite of -5, +5. Add and the opposite of -3, +3. Good, so now what we're going to do is add up all our negatives and add up all our positives. Here's a negative, there's a negative. We have 10 total negatives on our negative team. On our positive team, we have a 5, another 5, and a 3. So that gives us 13. All right, which team is larger? Looks like our positive team is larger. So, and by how many? It's going to be by 3. So our answer is +3. That's all that they mean when we're talking about opposites of a number. Opposites of a number. Okay, so what I want you to do is go ahead and pause right now and see if you can do the practice set on page 35, A through D. A through D. When you're done, unpause the video and we will go through those together. Okay, so -3, so opposite of -3 minus -4. The opposite of -3, or two negatives, you've probably heard your parents say that, two negatives, two wrongs don't make a right? Well, in math it does, two negatives make a positive. So it's +3 minus -4, okay? Now we don't subtract, we add, and the opposite of -4, +4. So 3 plus 4 is going to give us 7. For B, let's go through that. We have positive -5 plus -6. Okay, and in this case, positive -5 is going to be -5. We don't have to do anything with that positive. Plus the opposite of -6 will give us +6. And again, we don't even have to write that little notation in there, that little positive, but it's helpful to do so. I don't know why this isn't focusing. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so we look at this and we see that our positive team is larger than our negative team. So that means our answer is going to be positive, and it's larger by 1. There's one more player on that team than there is on the other. All right, so that was B. Let's take a look at, oh, every time, get marker everywhere. Oy. All right, let's take a look at C. We have negative positive 6 minus negative 8, oh, terrible 8, plus 7 minus negative 3 plus negative 5. All right, again, those parentheses are just indicating a negative or a positive. It's just grouping that sign in there. We don't really have to do anything with those parentheses, and in fact, I don't like them, so when I rewrite the problem, I'm going to take them out. Opposite of positive 6 is going to be negative 6. So negative times a positive gives us a negative, minus negative 8 plus 7 minus a negative 3 plus a negative 5, plus a negative 5. Now, we're going to go ahead and add the opposite, so I'll use that different color. For our first subtraction here, we're going to add, and then the opposite of negative 8, positive. Add, and the opposite of negative 3 is positive 3. We're going to gather up all of our negatives here. It looks like we just have those two, which is negative 11. Plus, we're going to gather up all of our positives here. 7 and 3 is 10, plus 8 is 18. So which team is larger, our positive or our negative? Looks like our positive team is larger than that negative one. So our answer is going to be positive by how many? 7. There are 7 more players on that team than there are on the other one. Excellent work. If you see that I am distracted during this, I must apologize. I just got a puppy a few weeks ago, and I'm going to show you my whole shebang here. He is rolling around like that. I am really sorry because he does that while we are recording. So if you hear me yell, Boris, that's why. So that's my dog. Okay, so taking a look now. Oh, and see, I moved everything. What did I even do? All right. Okay, so if you're still with me, lucky you. All right, we're gonna do, that was C. So we're going to do D now. Negative 3 minus negative 4 plus negative 6. Okay, so what we have here is opposite of negative 3 is going to give us positive 3 minus, because we just bring down our sign. Opposite of negative 4 is going to be positive 4 plus, just bring down that sign. Opposite of negative 6 is going to be positive 6. And again, those positives are unnecessary, so I'm just going to get those out of the way. Okay, now we want to add the opposite. So we're going to add, and the opposite of negative, or of positive 4 is negative 4. So we have we have 4 players on our negative team, just that one. We don't have to group the others. Plus, we're going to add up all of our positives. There's 9 there. Which team is larger? It looks like our positive team is larger than our negative team. By how many? Looks like there's 5 more players on that team than the other one. Okay? Any questions? Let me know. Otherwise, that is what I mean when I say the opposite of a number. Good luck, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks so much.